Time for another edition of the Daily Racing Form Weekend Preview. I am Gino Buccola alongside my good friend Scott Shapiro, and we are ready to get you all set up for a big weekend of racing over at Keeneland. Scott, the 2 times a year when Keeneland races are really important parts of the year in horse racing because it's the meet right before the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks, and then it's a meet right before the Breeders' Cup. So we get to see some of the best horses in training run at Keeneland right before they again run in some of the biggest races of the year.
Without question, and a great place to get to visit. Luckily, I lived close to it for a while. One of the best tracks in terms of on-track experience in the country. I'm looking forward to the weekend and to the meet.
We're going to preview 3 Grade 1 races from Saturday at Keeneland. But before we do, we want to let you all know about the DRF Sportsbook offers at drf.com. You can check out all these different sports books. You can claim up to $5,000 in offers. Scott, this is one of the best times of the year because there's baseball playoffs going on. There's college football. There's NFL football. The Lakers have a preseason game tomorrow. We're watching all this great horse racing. I mean, there is so much happening in the world of sports. Make sure you head on over to that Bet on Sports section of Daily Racing Form and check out all those sportsbook offers. You could claim all the way up to $5,000. Let's get ready because we have a lot of ground to cover this weekend, Scott. We start with the Grade 1 First Lady. This is going to be race number 8 on Saturday, October the 4th. And we'll kick things off with a horse who actually won a Grade 1 at Keeneland back in April against a pretty good field. She got a little lucky that day, did Choisia. She should have been disqualified when she won the Jenny Wiley. She impacted Excellent Truth, but they kept her up that day, Scott. I needed her, so I was fine that they kept her up that day. But she's probably a better fit in a level like this. I think she might have been facing pretty tough horses in the Diana.
Yeah, she gets the cut back as well. She definitely was facing 2 of the probably better in the division, if not the top of the division here in the States. Choisia, she makes a lot of sense in here, obviously.
Rakia is a Grade 3 winner. She's a horse who should be forward. She sat second last time out, moved to the lead, but she got run down by Dynamic Pricing, and Dynamic Pricing looks like one of the major players in here.
Yeah, Rakia is an interesting player to me. You put Johnny V up, you have an inside post, and the pace is a little murky in here. So I can see Rakia really put in a good effort, game effort to finish second last out, even though no match for the winner.
I was really high on her last year when she came to Del Mar and she won that Goldacova, and I was hoping for more from her, and she just had kind of an unlucky year. She hasn't really been able to string races together, but there's certainly ability, and I think we can both agree that the next horse has a lot of ability, Scott. That's Nanda Dea, who is a Group 1 winner in Argentina, comes over to the U.S. and has been impressive in 2 starts, both wins. She beat Softer Company, but she did it really impressive visually. She's had some time off now, but man, she's had all of August and September to work. So it seems like she's ready to rock for this race.
Nacho Correa's the trainer, long time Argentinian based, been over in the States, had a successful career. I could talk about this horse for a long time. A lot of good things on paper, but the narrative is there too. He's retiring at the end of the year, heading back to Argentina. It feels like he's got this horse ready to roll as well as she could.
Simply in Front is a multiple graded stakes winner. She comes off a pretty good effort when she ran second over at Kentucky Downs, Scott. I'm not sure if she's quite at this level, but she's in pretty nice form right now. I want to give her that.
She's had a lot. She didn't have a lot of luck last year. She's had more luck this year, but she can finish. I found that interesting. The pace projector has her as the late pace chicklet instead of Dynamic Pricing, and we'll talk about now. I question that a little bit.
Dynamic Pricing is a top contender, Grade 1 winner. It's kind of interesting that coming off of a Grade 1 win and then a 3rd place in the Grade 1 Diana dropped her into a lot softer spot, but she wins that race. Sometimes I think with Chad Brown, he has so many horses, he just kind of tries to separate them a little bit so they're not all just running against each other. She just looks like she fits this field really well. There's some pace in here to chase. She should get a nice setup. A lot of positives about her, except for the fact she'll probably be bet and she'll probably be a short price.
Well, her trainer, Chad Brown, has won this race 7 straight years. This is one of the 2 he has entered, and both of them are likely to take money, but that's relative in something like this. If you think of a futures pool where there's no specific favorite, that really narrows it down because even the favorites in this race aren't going to be too short a price.
That's a really good point. I mean, you're probably going to be in the 3-ish, 3.5-ish to 1 range on some of the shorter prices in here. Simmering is the next one we go to. Scott, Simmering is a multiple group stakes winner. This one comes in most recently from France and Ireland, but 0 for the last 7, so not coming in right now in the best of form.
Yeah, the 2-year-old form looks good. I mean, it was good. Also, has never run over a firm ground. That could be a positive, but we don't know. I don't have a lot of things to say positively other than that she's been facing really good company, and that puts her in some sort of mix when she comes to the States.
Heredia is the number 7. She's a multiple graded stakes winner. She's still kind of lightly raced for a 6-year-old mare, especially in the US. We've only seen her run a few times. She had this big gap of almost a 2-year layoff. And we're looking at her most recent victory. This is in the grade 2 yellow ribbon. Graham Motion has done a really nice job with her. Like, there's obviously some ability and some talent there. I'm curious if this is the spot for her right now at this moment, but I do think she's like an underneath type horse that would not shock me if she hits the board. I just don't know if she's quite good enough to beat a full field like this.
Well, she rode a good rail with an easy lead last out against Lesser, but interesting. I didn't really have this horse on my radar, but our colleague Mike Beard did, based on the back class and kind of the idea that she's going to be a really good price here. She's won some big races, and maybe, this is a spot that she's going to be peaking.
If you like dynamic pricing a little bit, she wasn't all that far behind dynamic pricing when they faced off against each other, and she should be a much bigger price than dynamic pricing. So yeah, if you like her a little bit, you will likely get rewarded in here. Pinup Betty, Scott, is a multiple graded stakes winner, but just loves Churchill Downs, right? I think all 4 of her career victories are at Churchill Downs. She does really seem like that's where she steps up and runs her best races.
I think she's up against it not only from a class perspective, a course perspective. I think she wants to go a little bit shorter. I'm not a fan of her in this spot, although I respect her.
We move to Suggesta, the number 9. She was inside. She was about 3 or 4 lengths off, and she got caught in between horses. She got shuffled back a little bit. She lost some positioning on the inside. You go back to a few starts in the Just a Game when she was behind dynamic pricing and Special One. She had legitimate trouble that day, Scott. I think you could put a line right through it. Seems like a horse who should be forwardly placed. Overall, you kind of look at her body of work. There are only a couple poor performances that you kind of cross out. Otherwise, she shows her speed. She puts herself in it. I just hope she doesn't get bet all that much from these connections because it's a Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt runner, but I think she fits pretty well with this group. What do you think about Suggesta in here?
Well, she does. She has a win over the course. She should get a good trip. She's the other Chad Brown, one of the other 2. Will take money, though, in my opinion.
Ozara is a horse who I was never really sure how good she was. She is so honest, though, and she has a great running style, Scott, where she just puts herself in every race. She sits about a couple lengths out of it, so she's always in striking range. She really likes Saratoga, and she got good up at Saratoga this year, and they'll step her up and take a shot and see if she, is able to compete with Grade 1 company right now.
Well, your guest this week on the Off the Track podcast, right? Miguel
Yep,
Clement.
absolutely.
Both of those. Got a really good trip last out, but I don't really doubt what he's been throwing out on the track right now. She will need another good trip, but she's coming in the race in her best form.
We have Great Generation, who comes in most recently from races at Newberry and Ascot. Does have a Group 3 win a few starts back, Scott. What do you think about this Irish bred?
Tough post. I don't know a lot about her. I understand that she's been facing very good company, but that post makes her tough to back. Although if you like her, you're probably going to get paid pretty well if she performs.
We round things out with Jody's Pride, Grade 2 winner. Another one, though, with just that wide trip, and you're trying to figure out what kind of trip. Do they take her all the way back, which is something they don't want to do with her? She doesn't want to come from way out of it. Or do they go to the lead, and then she has to work too hard? I'm just worried about the trip for her, Scott.
I'm worried about the trip. I'm worried if we haven't seen the best of her. Maybe she peaked early. You can make the argument she might want the turf, but Jody's Pride, not for me in this spot.
A big field here in the First Lady. There's a lot of different ways you can go. So when we round things out, Scott, with selections, who are you going to land on here?
Well, Special One is one to consider off the AE list if she gets in, but
yes,
I am going to go with take a big shot. I'm going to assume that Nanda Day at 15-1 has the best race of her American stateside career in or off the layoff for one Nacho Correas.
310.25 for Scott. Scott, I've got your price in the mix as well. I think this horse has a big shot, Nanda Dea. 9.531 for me. I'll put Suggesta on top. Don't go anywhere. More Grade 1 action when we return.
Now let's get to a player who was taken in the first round of every fantasy football draft, and thus far, it's produced the least points, George. I mean, I thought you'd just take a rookie running back in the first round and you get yourself 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns. But Boise State's Ashton Genty for the Las Vegas Raiders, we got out of excuses, right? Like at this point, it's, they got to give him the ball more. They got to do this. They got to do that. I mean, George, does this guy look like Barry Sanders? Like that was the comparisons? Like, I haven't seen any of that yet.
Our panicometer, all right, doesn't go high enough here. All right, because this is, I mean, come on, we're freaking out here. I don't think it's all Genty, by the way. He has more yards after contact than before contact. That pretty much lets you know what the problem is there. All right, the Raiders needed a running back, sure, but they need an offensive line. All right, they need a couple of offensive linemen. It's not something you can fix in one off season here. So yeah, we're gonna eat it with Genty. He's not gonna be worth the first round pick in fantasy. It's just not. Not this year. In future years, we'll see here, but not this year. The offensive line is not very good. The defense is not very good, so they have to throw the ball more in the second because they're trailing every game. So that's hurting us as well here. So, yeah, like I said, the panicometer, it doesn't go high enough for this, okay? I am more than concerned. I am not calm. I am critical. I am flipping out.
Isn't there going to be a time where he just breaks it free? George, like, what you said is not false. But I think there's a point being missed here. Why has he not broken free one time the whole season? Not once. To just run away. Like he's Devin Singletary right now. No offense to Devin Singletary, but that's who he is.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
Are back in time to preview another grade 1 race. This is a really exciting one, Scott, because this is the Breeders' Futurity. This is for 2-year-olds. I mean, we might see a horse in here that ends up running in the Kentucky Derby next year or in one of the big Triple Crown races. So it's always exciting when you have the 2-year-olds, the young horses. And in this particular race, we will have a standout. We're going to get to the preview of the Breeders' Futurity in a moment, but we want to let all of you know to take a look at one of the new daily racing form products. It's called DRF Newbie. If you use your mobile device and you go to newbie.drf.com, this will pull up charts for you for each race, graphs, and it'll really make things a little more visual for you, Scott. I know some of my friends, when they've come to the track, sometimes they open up the form and some of the research that we have, and it's like Greek to them. It's like a bunch of numbers. It's in black and white. A lot of people nowadays, they like the graphs. They like visual learning. It's just a little easier to see that way.
No, without question. I mean, it's hieroglyphics is what I think the average person looks at that. You look at it as English, but not to most.
So DRF Newbie is going to help anyone out that likes to play the races, but maybe you're just starting, or maybe you have a friend that wants a little more information and they want to take their handicapping to the next level. Check out DRF Newbie. We're going to check out the Breeders' Futurity. It goes as race number 9 on Saturday at Keeneland. It's a grade 1 race. And what is cool about races like this is I think we have an absolute standout on paper in Ted Nafi and what he's done. These are lightly raced 2-year-olds, Scott, and a lot of horses are talented in here. They could easily jump up with a big performance and improve from one start to the next. I mean, like a horse like Blackout Time, I wasn't particularly as high on him as some of, I think, our colleagues are that I've been talking with, but this horse has run twice. The debut was not bad. It was a runner-up effort. Then he took a big step forward in his second start. He won by almost 10 lengths over at Ellis Park. So, I mean, his dam was a graded stakes winner going 1.5 miles on the turf. Distance should be no problem for him.
It's interesting, and we're going to end up gushing over a horse that's going to be a short price.
Right, yeah.
Nobody else in the field has done anything wrong, and this is a horse that hasn't. I mean, that runner-up effort to Dazzle D'Oro for a barn that doesn't win first out. Dazzle D'Oro was big-time steam, and then this horse comes back and wins by a pole. It looks like, to me, McPeak really, likes to win at Keeneland. He's been pointing to this race since. We don't have on top, but I think this horse can run.
Big Dom won first time out of the box. The McPeak barn and the Tom Amoss barn. Those barns have been so good over the last couple months with their young horses. Tom Amoss has had a bunch of first-time starters and young horses winning all over the place. One of them was this guy, Big Dom. He was still a little green late, but he was very, very determined here late to get this victory.
This has to be a horse named after the bodyguard for Nick Sirianni.
The Eagles guy? Oh, yeah, right?
Has to be, right?
Hell yeah.
McKinsey, but for those out there, which is probably all you know who Big Dom is. But yeah, workman-like effort compared to one of his stablemates that wowed at Saratoga. But again, he's done nothing wrong, and his barn has been winning races in bunches.
The track announcer at Gulfstream Park was really enjoying getting the chance to say the name Dicicette for the number 3 here. That's Pete Aiello, who talked about Dicicette, which is the number 17. I gotta say, like, I wish this race wasn't so competitive because visually this horse is really honest, Scott. He had trouble. He had to kind of sit behind and shuffle out. I just don't know how good the company he was facing is. And this is such a huge step up, but I really do respect this horse. And I'm going to keep an eye on him for a softer spot than this because he does have some serious ability. He's just in a little tough this weekend.
They're coming because a Florida bred, certainly sprinter, bred to sprint. That's the issue I have more than anything. Stretching out the 2 turns and the class test, it's a lot to ask.
We move to Spice Runner for trainer Steve Asmussen. He won a graded stakes race at Churchill Downs in the Iroquois, so he actually already has some Kentucky Derby points. And he is a full brother to a horse named Gunite, who's a multiple grade 1 winner. Gunite was a sprinter, though, and I'm still not quite sure how good Spice Runner is and maybe how far he wants to go. Like a few of these horses, Scott, because they're young and they're lightly raced, he was very green in the stretch, kind of zigging and zagging, but he still did get up to win.
I saw a lot of Goodnight when I was there in Kentucky live covering that product, and they didn't think immediately that he was going to be a sprinter. It just kind of worked out that way. They were very high on him originally. And the one thing I'll say about this horse is he just keeps moving forward, and he beat a horse that was favored pretty heavily last time out for the Eddie Keneally barn in Coomore. Now, I don't have, highest hopes for this horse in this race, but Steve Asmussen knows how to manage a horse, obviously, and get them to be better. And he's progressed nicely and built up to his first 2-turn test in a very good style.
And you pointed out a horse named Coomore. That horse beat him 2 times in a row, and then he came back and turned the tables on him. So you like to see that improvement that you were just hitting on. Litmus Test ships out for Bob Baffert. It's kind of interesting that Baffert has so many, and this was the one that he decided to ship out. I do think he feels like this is a horse who wants a little bit more distance. Litmus Test wins his debut. I thought it was a pretty nice debut. And then in his second start, he was chasing a stablemate, a lone speed winner. He was kind of wide. He didn't really get much of a trip, but both of his siblings won going long. So this is a horse who might just be a little bit better with more distance, Scott.
I think on paper, 6 horses could look like they could run second in this race. And he's the one that I think has as good a chance as any. It's a tough thing to figure out why Baffert opted to ship him. Run 4 in the American Pharaoh at Santa Anita, and this is the one he chose. Is that a good thing, a bad thing? But Litmus Test makes some sense.
Ted Noffey is the horse to beat in here. His name came about off of a typo on social media. Ned Toffee is the name of the general manager of Spendthrift Farms, and they made a mistake when he was going to be interviewed. So they ran with this name. They've had fun with it. This is a really nice horse, Scott. And I actually interviewed Ned for our next week Off the Track podcast, and they're really high on this guy. And I mean, his 2 wins, not only has he been impressive, but what I like, he sits off. He's like push button. He's not just a run off speed horse. You can ask him to take back a little bit and then go. He just seems like a pro.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the pedigree for getting distance. I don't think it matters. And I think he a little bit surprised them last time out. Not that he was good, but he ran that huge in his second start. I think they have high hopes for this horse. He's going to take a lot of beating if he takes the trip.
We got Big Dom for the football fans. We've got Ewing for the basketball fans and the NBA fans there. Ewing is 2 for 2, Scott. He's a graded stakes winner. I think he's probably the quickest horse in here. So I do have some concerns about the distance. He was a little green late in his race, but certainly quick and has some talent.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the distance, but Griffin Johnson, if you've seen him on some of the telecasts, he's involved in this horse as well. Knicks go, Ewing. We'll see if he can get the distance.
We move to selections for the Breeders' Futurity. We both ended up on Ted, and actually lots of similarities in the trifecta there. 6-5-7-1 for Scott, 6-5-7-2 for me. Don't go anywhere. One more grade 1 when we return.
Shadur, which quarterbacks are you talking about? Because there is some bad quarterback play out there, but the dude who can't beat Dylan Gabriel out for a job and can't beat Joe Flacco out for a job certainly can't lay claim to being better than any other quarterback in the league.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
That's a lot for a closer. 10. That's you're not a closer anymore if you blow 10 games. I mean, my goodness. That's
he's mentally broken too. Like, it's to the point where, like, Dodger fans aren't even mad at him; they're more mad at the Dodgers for putting him out there.
Putting him in,
right? It's more so.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, guys, like, he's done.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball has decided it is time to put balls and strikes not just in the hands of the umpires, but also the robot umpires, as they say. The ABS system is now officially in place starting next season. Now, keep in mind, they're not just throwing this out there. They have used this at the Arizona Fall League, and they've also used it at different levels of the minor leagues as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Everything changed at that point. They went and got Jonquil Jones, and they really had that triple threat monster team. That second year they lost in the WNBA Finals, 3-1 against the Las Vegas Aces. Year 3, they finally get over the top hump. You can question whether they should have won the title with that foul call late in Game 5 that sent Brianna Stewart to the foul line.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Scott, we've got another loaded Grade 1 field to get to, so we have to dive right into this one. Race 10 on Saturday at Keeneland. It's the Grade 1 Coolmore Turf Mile, and on paper, there's a good amount of speed because down towards the inside, you have a couple horses that want to be forward. Donegal Momentum is really quick. He comes off a stakes win last time out, and he is a graded stakes winner. He's had a little trouble at the start in a few of his races, and he did take a bad stumble 2 starts back in the middle of his race, but he bounced back nicely here, Scott.
We're taking a look at him. He beat Program Trading while I like in this race, but I think he had everything his way. I don't expect that to happen in this one.
Because what's hard for Donegal Momentum is right to his outside. You have a horse like Quattro Centro, the number 2, who is pretty quick. He got the lead from the outside at Kentucky Downs last time out, Scott, and I just don't know if he's quite this classy. Yeah, the class test is certainly there. The Kentucky Downs form, he won twice in a 2-week period. That's a lot to ask to come back and win this. We move to Howard Wolowitz. I think this has been said about 10 times when he's run. He's looking for the big bang here. Second start off the bench, and he's only run 8 times, and they've said it 10 times when he's run, Scott. But he could be a little closer stretching out. I'm interested in him at the mile because he's been a very good late-running sprinter. He's a good horse. I don't know if this is exactly what he wants to do, go 2 turns. He's bred to sprint on the top side. He's got some distance pedigree on the bottom side. I'm more intrigued than anything to see how he runs. Diego Velasquez comes in from France. This is a horse who's actually a Group 1 winner. He's won 4 of his last 5 that are graded stakes, group stakes races. And he has a couple legitimate excuses when maybe he's going a little too long or the turf course was not to his liking. I think he's going to be sitting pretty close in here, Scott. That would be my main concern, is that he wants to be forward. And I think there's a lot of other speed in here. But on class, he seems like he's been facing some of the best. Sure does. I'm not sure if Aiden O'Brien really does have all that much success in the non-Breeders' Cup races coming. So if he's taking too much money, I wouldn't be too excited to bet him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he runs huge. Wood Shauna is a Group 1 winner, multiple group stakes winner. My biggest concern with him is most of his races have been shorter, so we haven't really even seen him go a mile. He does seem like he wants to come from way out of it too, like they're going to really grab a hold and want to make that one late run. So maybe he gets the setup in here with a lot of other speed. He was a tricky read for me. Well, they spent $847K, they being Resolute Race and John Stewart. They get Tyler Gaffleone, and they get their toughest test, well, their only test in the state so far. We've talked about Mercante before, Scott, and I really respect this horse, but I think what's tough for him in this spot, he's at his best at about 1 1/8 miles. Like 1.5 miles is a little too far for him. a mile almost seems like it's a little too sharp for him. And you see his best victory and his best races came a little earlier in the year when he gets that mile in an 8th trip. He also peaked earlier in the year. I wonder if that was like his best and maybe we're seeing like more of his B level game right now. What do you think about Mercante?
Well, I agree. I think we probably saw the best of him. He might be a little faster over the all-weather as well, and I don't know what kind of trip, although he is tactical, what kind of trip he's going to get in this race.
Epic Ride is really fast, Scott. I mean, he showed us last time he could get a mile on the turf. He wins this race we're watching at Kentucky Downs flying on the front end. He holds off Beach Gold. He also holds off Brilliant Birdie in there. I know there's a lot of other speed, but if anyone in here were to get loose, it might be this guy who is the speed of the speed.
He's bred to go 2 turns on the turf, but he was so good early, almost winning on debut at Turfway for a barn that never does. He's a good horse. It's kind of reinvented himself here, going 2 turns on the turf. I think things worked out a little bit advantageously for him last out. I don't think I can back him in here.
Program trading just looks so good on paper. He's a multiple grade 1 winner. He's going to go second start back after a 14-month layoff. It just looks like he gets some pace to chase, Scott. A lot of positives for me.
Yeah, we saw the Donegal Momentum win last out on a replay before. He was the one that didn't have things his way in that race. Second off a legitimately long layoff. If he gets back to his best, he has a big shot.
Rhetorical is really, really a nice New York bred. They don't know how good he is, though, Scott, so they're going to take a shot against grade 1 company here. This guy is like half a length away from being undefeated. He's very, very sharp.
Will Walden, 25% on the year, almost positive, blindly betting on his horses. Third off the layoff, we'll find out how good he is.
Brilliant Birdie is a multiple graded stakes winner. I don't know if he's quite at this level. He's really, really honest, though. He's got some versatility to him, Scott.
I like this horse. I don't think he's had really good setups or things his way. He's been up to close paces when he doesn't want to be. He gets Jose Ortiz with Brian Hernandez Jr. on the sidelines.
Beach Gold's in really nice form. He just kind of feels like a long shot. I could see maybe being involved early and then like an underneath type.
Tough post, and also he wants to be forward in a race where others do.
We round things out with Jean Quill, who 2 races at a mile, Scott. There's some of his better races. I think of the European horses, this one gets forgotten about, doesn't get bet. We're going to get 15 or 20 to 1. The outside draw doesn't bother me as much because I hope he just takes back from out there and comes rolling. So as we move to selections, that's going to be the one that I put right on top. Jean Quill looking for a little bit of value, Scott, but I do think program trading is the one to beat, and that's who you have on top. 12-8-4-9 for me, 8-10-4-9 for Scott. Good luck this weekend over at Keeneland.
Ashton Genty, between yards and yards before contact and yards after contact, all these sorts of, they're giving him nothing. He is getting hit constantly behind the line of scrimmage, multiple yards behind the line of scrimmage, and frankly, at this point, I think he's essentially out of the race, and this is partly due to Emeka Buka having a great year, Tyler Warren putting up big numbers, Tet McMillan, I think, is maybe the most talented player overall in the rookie class.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The leader right now in the clubhouse in the odds market is Fernando Mendoza. College football purists, yep, absolutely know that guy. Fantastic. He's a great quarterback. Non-purists who are tuning in just for the biggest games, who is this guy, Joe, and how did he get here?
Well, he came from Cal. He's a mobile kid. He's big. He's about 6'3", about 220. He's a gutty kid and had a great performance for Kirk Signetti.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
We're in a weird place with Trevor Lawrence. This was another one of these quote-unquote can't-miss generational quarterback prospects, right? Everybody was salivating over when he was a freshman winning national championships. And here we are, about 5 years later, looking at ourselves going, is it just time for Trevor Lawrence to get a change of venue or something? Like, what's got to give here? Hopefully this Liam Cohen offense starts to come together.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Americans got to find answers in these partnerships, and I think they need to look at their who's making these decisions from a stat standpoint.
Well, it's so funny to me, especially coming off of the Walker Cup just a few weeks before, how it just seems like there's this glaring chasm between American partnered match play and American individual singles match play.
The Smiley Show, Only on SportsGrid.